Hello, everyone. It's Pastor Andrew from New Hope Friends Church. I hope that this video finds you doing very well. I was just reminiscing about, it's been a little while since I've done one of these videos, and I was just looking back at some of the ones that I've done in the past to kind of help, and I realized I really do need a haircut, and I'm grateful that I do have an appointment next week to get that. It was the earliest I could get, and so I'm grateful. If you look back at kind of to the beginning videos, it chronicles my the growth of my hair basically over the last couple of months. But I hope this video finds you well. I'm making this video because as most of you know, this past week on Friday, we entered into phase 2 of reopening of North Carolina. And Governor Cooper issued another executive order, and in this executive order, he exempted all religious services, worship services, funerals, and other such religious gatherings from all of the mass gathering guidelines, or all of the mass gathering rules. So while it is still mandated that only 10 people can gather indoors at a time, churches are able to meet back together. While we are exempt, he has also issued some guidelines for how we should reopen, how we should regather together as we look to do that. So last Tuesday, before he gave this order, ministry and council met together, and we decided to wait for what he was going to say, but also we started to make some preparations for how it would look for us to regather back together. And so I'm so grateful to let you know that starting on Sunday, June 7th at 10:30 a.m., we will be regathering in person here at New Hope Friends Church. Now, before I go into some of the guidelines on how we're going to do that and what it's going to look like, I do want to say one thing about the church that has been, kind of a thing that I've been saying this whole time. The church, our church, New Hope Friends Church, is not a building. We cannot be defined by a physical space. We are a people who have been called out, a people who have been saved by grace, and a people who have gathered in this one place. And so we are not a church building and not defined by our physical gatherings. And so I think you'll find that what we're going to say here in these next few things is it's not that we are reopening the church. The church was never closed. The church was never shut down. As long as we are people that are called out by God, we continue to be the church. But we are what I like to call regathering together. We are not reopening. We are regathering. And so as we do this, I do want to just lay before you this one thing. During these times, New Hope Friends has been driven completely by our love for God first, but also for our love for one another and for our neighbor. And so the reason that we stopped gathering in the first place was not because we were told that we shouldn't, not because it was against the law or any of those things. We stopped simply because we love God and we love our neighbor. And so these guidelines that we are coming back with, we have done so in a way that honors these things that are a core of who we are, allowing all people to believe in God through the Word, to become more like Jesus, and to belong to the church. We do these things because of our love for God and love for others. So with that said, to regather, we do need to do things a little bit differently. And so our first Sunday back together is going to look a little bit different. I have detailed these guidelines a little more in depth on a letter that has been sent to all of you that will be sent to you today, and also you can find here online. But I'm going to go over the kind of the basics of what our first worship service is going to look like back and what we're going to do for the remainder of phase 2 until we can reevaluate how we can regather. First of all, our worship service on June 7th at 10:30 a.m. will be held in the Family Life Center. We will enter in the Family Life Center through the side door under the awning, under the portico, so you can park, kind of in the lot, in the grass as needed, and enter in through that door. These doors will be propped open, so no one will have to open the doors or anything. You'll walk in, and we want to make a very strong recommendation that any fellowship that is done should be done outside where social distancing can be practiced, or all the way inside the actual Family Life Center. The walkway, the hallway, should be used only for walking. We don't want anybody stopping and greeting one another there. You should go all the way in to greet, or stay outside to greet. We will also be not be handing out any bulletins to try to mitigate the risk for what's going to happen. As you come in, you'll notice that the sanctuary is going to be set, or the Family Life Center is going to be set up with groups of chairs that will be socially distanced. We ask that you sit with your family unit. Use your best judgment, common sense, as you come in and sit. We are asking that all people wear masks as they are entering the building and as they are exiting the building, but once you get into the building and are seated, you can go ahead and take those masks off. We're strongly suggesting that as well, but of course, use your common sense and what you're comfortable with. As we sit in the Family Life Center distance, the service will be a little bit shorter. We're going to try to kind of shorten the service so that we are limiting the amount of exposure that we have to the disease. We will also be propping all of the doors open on the sides to try to encourage airflow to make it feel more outside. So just be aware of that. Upon exiting, you can exit back through the main door. I will let you know, as far as I am concerned, I will not be going around shaking hands, greeting people in the beginning of the service, but at the end of the service, I will be available out of the main exit, off of the hallway. There will be a table there where I'll be standing, and I'll be greeting people as they exit the building. You can also exit out through the side doors as well. Those will be propped open so that you can go and do what you feel is safe for you. We do ask that you refrain from handshaking, hugging, any type of touching, but of course, use your best judgment on those things. Just try not to put anybody in an awkward position who may not feel comfortable hugging. While you may feel comfortable hugging someone or shaking their hand, they might not feel the same way. So make sure you respect one another. One other thing that I do want to mention is we will not be offering any children's ministry. There will be no nursery. There will be no junior church. So please make plans to either have your children in the service, or if you feel you're not ready to come back as well, we are going to be offering online church as well for those parents who may not want to bring their children. We will have our church service live streamed on Facebook and YouTube. We also, per the CDC guidelines and the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, do want to say one thing about our elderly population, those who are over 60. They are saying that it is recommended that you stay home, but we're saying that you should use your best judgment on doing what you feel you're comfortable with. But we do want to make that recommendation as well. One last thing that I want to lay before you before I pop off of here. We do want to make sure that if you are exhibiting any symptoms of COVID-19, including a cough, fever, shortness of breath, or if you've been diagnosed with COVID-19 and are not out of the woods on that you please refrain from coming to church. We do not want to risk infecting anyone with this disease. With that said, we will also be making sure upping our cleaning game with sanitizing surfaces that are touched and that sort of thing. I pray that as you receive your letter, as you watch this video, that you will be respectful of one another, knowing that there's a large spectrum of what people believe and feel about this disease, and so respect one another as we begin to regather. I believe that as we gather back in person, that we know that there's not a physical presence that binds us, but that we're bound together by the love, by the spiritual presence of Christ with us, dying in our place. You see, we are a people that are saved by grace. We are not a place. We are a people who are marked by grace. and not a people marked by judgment. So let us treat one another in the example of Christ, sacrificially giving up some of our own comfort so that we can edify and love one another. I love you all. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you on June 7th at 10:30 a.m. If you get your letter, there is a survey that is included. We're trying to figure out about how many people we're going to have to accommodate on that day. So please return that survey as quickly as you can, or reach out to us and let us know. I love you all, and we'll see you all very soon.